So, as you should guys know,
because
you're listeners of Turn Up.
You're all very eager listeners. You wait up on Friday night between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m.
You go mad for this, right? You're followers. You're followers of
You
Turn
stalk
Up.
Eugene.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
As you may remember, John Lowe, our amazing head boy, was interviewed at Turn Up.
Like 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. And the week after that, John suddenly came up to me, he shook my hand and said, I really enjoy listening to your radio program, podcast, whatever it's called. So I said, oh, good. So what did we record last week? And John said, well, you see, I gotta get going, Eugene. And what's funny is he was part of the damn recording, so...
So in other words, if you're gonna lie, be a bit more convincing.
Right. Or just, you don't have to lie. You just have to watch our things.
It doesn't even require your eyes. You just need to listen.
Right.
You can pretend to do homework as well.
Exactly.
So thanks, John. We appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Welcome to Turn Up, guys.
Welcome to Turn Up.
You're listening to AAC Radio Podcast with Eugene and Cappy.
Welcome, guys.
So today's topic is...
Jargon!
For Jay!
Yay!
Woo!
Woo!
Jargon!
Favorite!
Yeah!
Woo! Okay, moving
Ingenious. This is the topic that's gonna turn our economy around. It's gonna
take us out of recession.
It's gonna change our lives.
Save the babies in Africa.
Absolutely.
So, in case you don't know what jargon is, it's special words or expression used by a profession or group that are difficult for others to understand. Special words that people use in special professions.
Right. For example, lawyers, attorneys.
Subpoena.
Suits. Yes, legal jargon is a very good example of this.
Let's just make sure that you guys know that. So this doesn't count. Jargon doesn't count when someone around you is speaking in another language. That doesn't count. That's not jargon. That's just speaking another language.
Right.
So jargon is specifically in your language.
Right.
That you understand.
But it's specialized.
Yeah.
And you kind of don't understand.
To an extent, it's slang, but it's a bit more profesh.
Much more professional.
Yeah.
Turn Up Podcast with Eugene and Cappy.
So apparently we can count text language as jargon, but I don't think that's fair. I think it's too informal.
This is debatable.
Yeah.
I think it has to be professional. I can make up any random word and say it's jargon, but that's...
I do make up random words, but I don't call that jargon,
Right.
It's too professional for me.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess that's more like slang.
Right.
And colloquial language.
Colloquial.
Slang stands for shortened language? Slang, shortened language.
Seriously?
I know.
My God.
I know. Alright, it's time for some specific examples of jargon. So, medical jargon's kind of popular.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. I feel like medical jargon, though, is just using big words where they can use little
Latin words.
Yeah.
It has to be Latin words.
So then, the patient can't understand, but all the doctor's like, oh no, he's screwed.
Right.
I feel like that's what that is.
Right.
But here's some examples. I feel like these are just kind of abbreviations.
Yeah,
more
these
than
are abbreviations.
Slang, but FX stands for a bone fracture.
Okay.
JT is a joint.
Wow.
NPO, a patient should not take anything by mouth. No, patient open. No, okay, no, I don't know. Business jargon. Okay, break even. Isn't that business jargon?
Is it?
Break even, yeah. When you make the same amount of profit as you do what you spent.
Oh, right.
Break even.
I know due diligence.
Due diligence. Putting effort into research before making a business decision.
Right. So, for example, when a company decides to go public, when they decide to sell their shares and offer their shares to the public, they have to go through due diligence.
Oh, right.
They have to be assessed very thoroughly.
By board members? Shareholders?
Shareholders?
Right. Alright. Police jargon. that stuff's fun because it's just a bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
Code 8. Code 8. Officer needs help immediately.
Okay.
I like that. Code 11. Individual is at the scene of the crime. What individual? I feel like this is so vague. FTP. Failure to pay the fine.
Wow.
I can just imagine a cop telling that into their radio. 10-4. 10-4. I mean, I understand.
Oh, and in the state of California, code 187 is the code for murder.
Oh.
Yeah. I think Michelle might know, but there's a Korean rapper called Basco, and one of his songs is called 187.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So do they change, like, they must change like a little between like states and countries, but do you reckon it's like quite a bit or like a little?
Maybe a little.
Because like a little I can understand, a lot like is like why would you even do that?
Right.
Imagine like 10-4 means something here but it means something else over there.
Right.
Code 47. Code
Although
47.
like it does seem more logical to just unify because police matters are pretty important because they should be able to communicate. But what about military jargon?
All of these are like also integrated into normal language.
Right.
Like AWOL, someone's on AWOL.
Right.
Like that means like
AWOL.
normal language. It means like someone's just walked off without saying anything.
Right.
But it actually stands for like absent without official leave.
Right.
So like they're off their post.
I think that's a good example of jargon becoming colloquial.
Right.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Turn Out Podcast with Eugene and Kathy.
Now, time to put your suit's knowledge to the test with some legal jargon. Alright, so, affidavit. A written or printed statement made under oath. I think I've heard Harvey say that more than once.
Probably. I've heard Mike say that once as well. Liability.
That's kind of normal English, right?
That's pretty normal. Plaintiff.
That's not normal English.
Yeah. It's a person who brings a lawsuit, sometimes also called a claimant. Yeah, so it's basically one who seeks to recover damages for a wrong committed.
Right. So it's different types of the people who hire legal aid.
Right. What else? Subpoena.
Subpoena! Isn't that like a document?
Yeah, I think it's a document.
Some form of document?
Yeah.
What's the one where they lie on the stand and it's bad?
By stand, do you mean deposition or like a true trial?
Yeah, in trial, when they swear under oath. Oh my god, what is that word?
Oh, maybe it's called like lying under oath.
Yeah, have a look.
Perjury!
Perjury! That's what it is. If you're a perjurer, you committed perjury, which means you lied under oath.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how law in that sense works. Like, they work so much of people, like, assuming people telling the truth.
Right.
Like...
Their underlying premise is that it's all true.
Yeah, and it's like... And lying at the stand is such a bad thing, but it's like, I don't understand why they're just relying on the truth being told.
Right.
Like, people lie all the time, man.
Right.
Alright, so... A colloquialism and slang are the same thing, right?
Right.
Colloquialism is just the big kid word, right?
Right.
The word they use in any of those.
Right.
And so, slang is kind of, and colloquialisms as a whole can't really be defined, right?
Right.
But apparently, linguists have tried to find out, like, and clearly define, you know, the difference.
Because that's what they do, right?
Right. Linguists, living life. And apparently, like, the idea behind it is, it's all about connotation.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it lowers the formality or the seriousness of speech and writing, it is, like, a misuse of register and therefore slang.
Slang.
However, that is so general, and it makes half the words in the English language slang.
Right.
Because, you know, like, if you're writing a formal letter, there are certain things you can and can't say.
Right.
So does that mean that you, and because they're out of register, does that mean that you deem them slang? T-O-K.
Yeah. So one of us has to become a linguist. But...
Go, Eugene. Go, my son.
Go for what?
Linguistics.
Oh.
Linguistics Olympiad.
Oh.
If it replaces a well-known conventional synonym, done primarily to avoid discomfort, isn't that a euphemism?
Could you repeat that?
So, replacing a well-known conventional synonym, done, like, and it's replacing it to avoid discomfort.
That's
Euphemism.
Yeah, that's euphemism.
So, but euphemism and slang aren't the same thing.
Oh, yeah, no.
And then
different.
jargon and euphemism aren't the same thing either.
Right.
They're very different.
Right.
So, we're mixing two terms together, and they don't
Yeah.
mean the same thing. And then another definition of slang is, it implies that the user is familiar with whatever is referred to or with a group of people who are familiar with it and use that term. But can't that also be jargon? That group of people can be at your work. And that item can be your CT scanner.
Maybe we should draw like a Venn diagram.
Yeah, sets. But yeah, so defining slang is just going to be a big headache.
I think like classifying language is one of the most difficult things to do.
Because it's so grey area.
Exactly.
English, why you do this?
Right.
And finally, layman's terms. You know what they are?
No.
Layman's terms are like the term, so if we're speaking in jargon, right? So say we're two lawyers and we're
Right.
using words like subpoena, affidavit.
Which we eventually will.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
One day we'll be our own Mike Rosses.
Yeah.
But we'll actually go to uni, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Michelle says, what does that mean? And then, you turn to her and you say, well, in layman's terms, a subpoena is a piece of paper that you sign.
Right.
So, layman's terms are like the person, like a layman is someone who isn't in a profession.
Oh, okay.
So, is layman's terms slang or is it normal language? And then, what is normal language? And then, TOK.
Layman's, in that sense, it can be both, right?
Right.
I mean, when you're explaining, lawyers may use appropriate language to their clients.
Right.
But I mean, if a friend asks you, you can just be colloquial.
Right. But then, you get what I'm saying though? Like, layman's terms can't be slang though, right? Because they have to be normal people language.
Right.
And slang is specific to a group of people.
Right. So what happens if layman's term becomes slang?
Exactly. We just need a huge Venn diagram. We need to sort this out. Eugene looks sad. Let's move on.
Turn Out Podcast with Eugene and Kathy.
Now time for some shameless advertising. Cancer Society. It's a good club. You should join it. Also, they would like to pass on the message that they are planting daffodils, and if you could please not stand on them, that would be lovely.
Guys, logically, if people plant flowers, they're
Don't
probably there
stand on
for
them.
you not to stand on them.
You can look, you can't touch.
Right.
Definitely can't stand.
Right.
And talent show. The deadline's coming up for next week for applications, so make sure you sign on up and get your talent out there so that we can all enjoy seeing you perform next year, term 1. The talent show committee, they're super lovely and they're super ready to hear all what you guys want to share with us and talent, etc., etc. I say us, I'm not in the committee. But yeah, so go for it. You won't regret doing talent show. It's a good experience and help you get over, fear of doing IOPs. Once you sing in front of a crowd, there's nothing that scares you. Know what I mean? So yeah, sign up for that, guys. You can get the paper to sign up from in the library, and then you hand it back to Miss Goodall, and everything's all good. Alrighty, and now time for our extra one-offs.
Phobia of the day is, we have no intention to cause any controversy, but it's Japanophobia and Judeophobia.
Okay, they're pretty obvious though. Japanophobia is fear of Japanese. Judeophobia is fear of Jews.
Why do these have to be so xenophobic?
So,
Why would people be afraid?
I mean, to some extent, can we say that Hitler had Judeophobia?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he was afraid of them. That's why he wanted to get rid of them, right?
Japanophobia? Do you
I mean, if you ever get cold sweats while you're watching anime and it's not for that reason, then you probably have Japanophobia.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on. SAT word of the day.
Jingoism, which we did in history.
Oh, nice.
It's an extreme form of nationalism. So you're belligerent, you're chauvinistic, you seek war, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know the term chauvinistic was named after a French guy?
Oh, really?
His last name was like Chau or something.
Oh, he must have been.
He was like super pro France.
Oh.
Yeah. And our artist of the day is Senor Jason Mraz. Mraz is a singer-songwriter who first came to prominence in a San Diego coffee house in 2000. And he's vegan. Like raw vegan.
Very healthy and conscious.
Like,
about
that's a lot of effort.
it is.
Being vegan and being raw vegan.
Right.
Like, that's a lot. Like, good job,
But
man.
not only the eating part, but getting...
Yeah, yeah. And apparently he owns like a huge avocado farm. Or like a 5.5 acre avocado farm in California.
Wow.
And yeah. Song of the day.
Jealous by Nick Jonas.
Do you like this song? Do you know this song?
I know it.
Do you like it?
I listened to it once.
Girl! I love this song.
Okay.
I mean, I have the whole album, and honestly, this is the only song I listen to out of it. Like,
Okay. Do you like Nick Jonas, or do you like the Jonas
I
Brothers?
liked them back in the day. I mean, I probably still like them. I haven't listened to them in a while.
Okay.
But yeah, they're good. I have their albums.
Okay.
So I appreciate them.
Cool.
And now it's time for the credits. First of all, Michelle, Kim, Kirby, Kim, CEO, Presidente,
Uju.
Wooj, would you like some tea? Big Boss Lady, thanks. CEO, thanks.
Our writers, Helena and Bridget.
Zhang and Wilson,
And of course, us.
because we're amazing.
Exactly.
I think we can actually use the term amazeballs here. Like, that's us. Amazeballs. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn up next week so that you can follow along on Eugene's endeavors to live his life. That got sad real quick. Anyway, good day, good night, good evening, tomorrow, and don't forget to...
Turn up!
You're listening to AAC Radio Podcast with Eugene and Cappy.
Oh, okay. The definition is in Polish, so I can't...